I know they out here talking like I ain't the man, like I ain't gon' do every single thing they said I can, like I ain't been holding off the tape and giving them a chance, like I ain't afraid to switch the floor up like a change of plans. Change the plans of these rappers, readjust your whole summer. You ain't seen the projections, boy, you gon' be outnumbered. Can't afford not to win, losing ain't in the budget, and it's far from an option, that's why we never discuss it. We don't got that in writing, that's just something we know. Ain't no lights to the altitude, everything is a go. I ain't noticed your progress, what you don't understand is everybody sounding like a little boy to the man. You should know I'm always on my grind, always on my grind. Keep it 9 to 5, I be on my job all the time. Everything is mine, everything is mine. Understand me, if I said it then I mean it, I ain't lying. Understand me, you ain't get it, you should read between the lines. Understand me, no suggestions, clearly I've been doing fine. Understand me, couldn't see me if I opened up the blinds. Understand me, don't request a feature, I ain't got the time. Understand me, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Don't come to me for help when your career is looking desperate. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. She'll probably give me brain, cause she knows just where I'm headed. Life is funny, ain't it funny, right? Told you don't disturb me when I'm trying to get this money right.
Good morning. Thursday morning. It's kind of rainy, kind of shitty. That usually means that traffic is going to be shitty. So we're going to wait for D-Man to show up. I apologize. Today's going to be kind of a little bit off the wall, guys. You know, it's tax season, and I'm staying up late as fuck and drawing for everybody. And this morning my iPad decided it wasn't going to kick on, so I didn't have shit to build this show. So I've just been kind of winging it this morning. That intro video was brought to you by Chris Bazzano. You can find him on Instagram at BXZZANO. He along with Marquis Apparel have teamed up to form a group called Group X. GRUUPX.com, and they are so set on helping your business get to where it needs to be on the internet and social media, so that when people type in on their smartphones, you know, you pop up next to Target and not just, 55th on the list, you know what I mean? And so if you're not on top and you own a small business, it is really, really important that your internet game is up, And so definitely hit those guys up. They've been a great bunch of guys. They've always helped us, with our apparel and videos and commercials and everything. And so it's really exciting that these two have paired up together to help people out. And to me, as a businessman, as long as what I spend brings back that amount of money, it's worth every penny, And anything extra that you make is obviously, a win. If you're tuning in with us and you want a live chat, we've got a couple of decent stories, some hard hitters this morning. Go over to the right hand side of your screen there and scroll down to the bottom, and you can live chat with us, and I will do my very best to respond to you. So also, if you guys have a question or something to talk about, you can always email us at apexarttalk@gmail.com, and we'll do our very best to approach your subject. And as always, we're a tattoo shop, and I here am the owner of this tattoo shop. And so if you guys have any questions or want to check out our portfolio, you can always go to apextattoofactory.com, and there's a shit ton of overbusy stuff there, along with our studio art, which is also for sale, because when I set this place up, all I wanted to do was have an art gallery that was also a tattoo studio. So check it out and let us know. So there's a lot of shit going down in the world today, people, and I always try and take the positive side, but I consider myself to be a fairly intelligent person. I'm 37 years old. I lived on this earth before 9/11 happened, and to me, I consider that a very vital part of knowing what America was. And when people say, Donald Trump's stupid, make America great again, you know what I mean? He knows, because most people don't know this, but Richard Nixon's wife was the first person to ever predict that Donald Trump would be president one day, and she was right. She told him that he would make a great president one day, and I don't know if I'm not the guy to tell you whether he's lived up to that or not. He's a pretty loudmouth guy, and so I float in between all sides. I don't tend to take a side. I'm very independent, free thinking individual that, I don't think you're going to steer me any way that I don't want to go. I'm intelligent enough to make my own decisions, and I really put it out there to make sure that I'm making my own decisions, because the media, nobody's ever going to steer me in a direction that I don't want to go. I've been that way my whole life. Anytime somebody said, "Oh, you can't do that," I was probably going to prove you wrong. Including being, the most successful tattoo shop in the area, or at least one of the top two successful tattoo shops in the area, starting from nothing, almost 5 years ago, which was when I took this place over. It had fumbled the ball a couple of times, and I knew it in my body that if I was the owner, things would be different. And of course, the proof is in the pudding. And so we're just gonna go right into talking about Amazon. Amazon, Raleigh is supposed to be one of the top picks or something for Amazon, and today they posted a new article on WRAL TechWire, and basically it says that Raleigh will not be. I mean, it said it was tied for the top three picks. So I don't know if Raleigh's going to be it, people. I know everybody wanted to, because that would just completely bring, quite a few thousand jobs to this area. But it kind of looks like Amazon's HQ has a better chance of being in either. Let's see, Zillow says Atlanta or Virginia. So, followed by Austin, Texas. Austin got number 11. Raleigh received 9. So, out of the voting. But who knows where these people get this information from, you know what I mean? Also, let's see what else we got on for the agenda today. As I said, we're winging it today, so if any of you guys want to help me wing it, you could just tune in right now and help me. There's a lot of things going on with this gun control and gun protests. In my opinion, I think that people are scared of what they don't know, and I brought it up to a friend the other day. Back in the day, they used to ban pit bulls. They used to think pit bulls were just the worst, the absolute worst dog. They were meant to be mean. They were, just the most vicious dogs on the planet. And, my generation was like, no, that's not possible, Well, we've seen them. You can just look. Some people like myself can just look at energy and tell that there's care, there's love there, And so I got a pit bull 17, 18 years ago. His name was Mossberg. He lived all the way up until he was 16 years old. He never bit a person that I didn't command him to. Very, very intelligent. We proved the world wrong that it was the owner, not the pit bull. And I think a lot of people nowadays own pit bulls simply because of our generation stepping in. I had moved up to New York and had a job with the biggest construction company in New York State, Magnum Construction. And I had it, after working really, really hard, I was one of the, there were 3 guys that owned the company, and me and another guy were the next guys down. So, I worked really hard to make it that up the chain, and we ended up having to move back to Oklahoma because we had 2 pit bulls, and they were completely banned from every city in New York State. And so we couldn't get an apartment, we couldn't find a place to live, and so here I am. I've lived with my mom for over a year and a half, and we are being denied a place to live, even though my income is fantastic. Like, my only option was to buy. And I just wasn't ready for that type of commitment. I had my first daughter on the way. And so, it was just a shame that back then, you could be denied a place to live simply because you owned a pit bull. And so I guess yesterday at Green Hope in Cary, 2,000, nearly 2,000 students walked out in protest. And so here's that story for you. I'm going to play it real quick because I haven't even got a chance to watch this yet. So it's probably going to start with a commercial. Yep. So I'll just mute that for a second. To me, I don't think there's anything wrong with standing up for what you believe in. Just make sure you're making informed decisions. Let's see here.
Hundreds of students walked out of class at Green Hope High School in Cary today, one of the growing number of demonstrations across the country. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Deborah Morgan. This was a staged walkout supported by the Green Hope administration. Teachers were stationed along the path so students, they could walk to the football field to make sure the students were orderly and not disruptive. WRL's Ken Smith reported on the students' march live during our new newscast, and he joins us to share his message. Ken?
Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
At precisely noon Wednesday, the curriculum at Green Hope High School took a different pathway. One that led the students out of the confines of their classroom to the football field. This learning experience was about effecting change for safer schools and eliminating gun violence. For Green Hope Junior Megan Sharma, this is painfully personal. She used to live in Parkland and attended Stoneman Douglas High School her freshman year.
It was the worst feeling in the world. Not knowing if your closest friends and family are safe.
Sharma told her fellow students she knew friends who died in that massacre in Parkland. She doesn't want it to happen here at Green Hope. And that's why many of these students say they staged this walkout. But their activism, though, doesn't end here.
Even though they can't vote, there is still a lot that they can do to help advocate for change, such as contacting their local legislators, their representatives, their senators, knowing how to contact Congress to actually, make reforms and change.
This walkout today, we think that we can really inspire change in some of these other issues where kids feel strongly about but just don't know how to go about getting their message out to people.
So yeah, I mean, I would love for you guys to let me know how you feel, as you are. A lot of my crowd is of age to vote and to, not that children don't need to voice their opinion. It's just, growing up, we had a different type of parent. You know what I mean? My dad used to whoop me, and as a child I didn't understand, but as an adult, a lot of my friends will say, they don't know anybody like me. And I really, attribute that to both, God and my dad whooping my ass, because, it was important that, you're not trying to be best friends with your kid. You have but 18 years to make an impact on your children. And, my family, my parents were divorced. I was pretty young. It was pretty tough, and my father and mother sought out to get me counseling and stuff like that, which, everybody thinks, oh man, he went and saw a shrink. You know what? I have yet to meet one single person on this planet that couldn't benefit from a little life coaching, a friend that is completely neutral and completely honest. And that's what a counselor is. These days it's hard to get a straight answer from anybody, or anybody that'll just lay it on you, and let all the chips fall where they lay, And so I personally think these kids are being brainwashed. They're being made to think that the gun is the problem and not the government. Ever since I actually became involved and decided to basically legislate to have this tattoo shop put here, I've been learning more and more about how government works, how legislators work, and seeing the bigger picture can sometimes help you make a better and more informed decision. So I'm not saying at all that I don't agree with some of the gun restrictions. I don't think bump stocks should be available. I don't think anybody needs an automatic weapon, and I fully agree with that. I don't even think the police need it. The only people that should have an automatic weapon is the Army, and for war purposes, you know. And so there's something, and I definitely believe there is a mental health issue. This kid was reported. I believe the FBI had gotten 13 calls on this kid, and the police, local sheriff's office had gotten like 36 calls on this kid, and none of them were checked up on. This kid was walking around the neighborhood killing cats and dogs with a pellet gun. He was exhibiting signs of being mentally disturbed and dangerous as far as taking life, and nobody did shit. I mean, there was even a neighbor recording him preparing to walk into the school. So, you know, he was cocking weapons and all kinds of shit. So, you know what? Everybody can point fingers, and it always seems to be the guns. And why is it the guns? Because the news media is controlled by, you know, rich, what is the word? Liberals. And so, people, I can't stress to you how important it is to be an individual. You know, my generation was like deathly, you know, ready to throw the fucking gauntlet at racism. We were definitely going to throw the fucking gauntlet at individualism. You know, we were the ones that elected the first black president. You know what I mean? And then everything like went to fucking shit. And I don't understand why. And the only reason I can understand why is because we are millennials, which I am the very first millennial. I graduated in 2000, but the thing to me is that people aren't or don't want to try to be an individual anymore. They want to be part of a group like sheep. And to me, that blows my fucking mind that people don't want to be this individual entity that is built for fucking greatness, because that's what I believe you are. You are definitely created as one person, unlike any. Like, your fingerprint is unique to you. Nobody else in the world has a fingerprint that matches yours. And to me, that individualism is what should be championed. Not that you listen to Joe, who was told by Katie that John over there had a gun and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you go over to fucking John, find out if John has a gun, confront John about the gun. You know what I'm saying? Do not take no for an answer. Learn what it is to write legislation and to have to deal with people that make laws. Because the people that make laws here locally, it was like so hard, and it's like Apex is like fucking 8 miles wide, I think. You know, it's the smallest town, but there's people here with money. And so going up to those town meetings and saying, hey, I wrote this piece of legislation. It is very fair. It helps support the little guy as opposed to the big guy. And I want you to look me dead in my fucking eyes and tell me that you don't give a shit about small business, because I know it in my heart that you do. I just want you to admit it. And it takes a lot of fucking balls and a lot of individualism to get something done like that. And, you know, I got to really, really champion my father because he cared. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to be my best friend, but every once in a while, he would come up and say, listen, son, I notice you got a lot of skater friends, you know? What do you think about this article right here? And it would be an article about some fucking stupid senator that was saying that all kids were destined to become prisoners. Like, you were destined for prison because you were worthless. And he was talking about my generation. And you know what? It would piss me off. And he'd be like, well, what are you going to do about it, son? And I said, well, what do I do about it, Dad? And he's like, well, you could always write back as you know, a rebuttal to what he said and send it into the newspaper. And one day, that article had made me so freaking mad that I wrote that fucking shit back. And I was able to sway a very predominant gentleman. In fact, I remember I was in the third hour class in high school, and I got a call to the principal's office. And when I went up to the principal's office, there was a guy. He said, I read your article. I know some people that know some people that know something about it. And he took me to meet with some city officials, and we had a skate park built. And so, you know, just a little bit of individual power did that. One man did that. I did that. And I did that as a teenager. You know, I don't see people out there saying, how was this kid allowed to do this? You know what I mean? How did this kid become so fucked up? Because you can look at what happened, and that is not the answer to the problem. You have to look at where it started, people. These guns aren't killing people. People are killing people, and these people are fucked up. So if you keep going on that line until what started, like, this is the problem right here, but this is where it started. And until you find where the fuck it started, which more than likely is his upbringing and his parents, you're lost, people. You're going to take away all the guns, and guess who's going to have all the fucking guns? Criminals. Because criminals don't abide by the law. That's why we still have meth and fucking crack out on the streets. It's completely illegal. It's been completely illegal all my life, and it has never stopped a criminal from selling it. So you're going to have all these guns, no way to defend yourself, and all of a sudden we're going to be an entire country that is Chicago. And in Chicago, every 2.3 minutes, somebody gets shot. And that's because they have banned all weapons. So guess who's the only people with the weapons in Chicago, people? Use your fucking brain. So we're going to get off that topic because I could talk about that all day. There was a girl... D-Man had sent this link to me. She was having an asthma attack, and her mother brought her to the hospital, and because she was 5 minutes late for her appointment, the doctor turned her away, and she ended up dying in her sleep. Now, basically, it's a 5-year-old girl that dies. Being late to a doctor's appointment may cost you your life nowadays. At least it did for a 5-year-old girl who died from an asthma attack after an emergency doctor turned her away because she was late. Ellie Mae Clark arrived in the Grange Clinic in Newport, South Wales. Is that even in America? All right, so I guess it was overseas. That's shitty, because I was telling D-Man I thought it was really fucked up because in America, no doctor is allowed to turn you away. But that's sad. This is so sad that this little girl will never see another day because of an error. Maybe because, there was some bad traffic. Bad traffic cost her life. Man, I wish I had something better for you guys today. It just seems like every 5 or 6 days we completely run out of awesome things to tell you about or funny things to tell you about because everything in the world's gone so fucking serious. Let me see what this is. And so again, if you're just tuning in, all you got to do is go over to the right hand side at the bottom and hit live chat. I know we were lacking on the streaming side this morning. I don't know if people are answering or what, but it is not showing me a live chat at all. So what I thought was super cool was this YouTube video of Amazon's Army robot. And so this thing looks like the most giant automated Rubik's Cube on the planet. Each one of these machines is, I don't know if you can see, but down on the floor, there's one of them little square barcodes, and the robot is programmed to register those barcodes on the floor. And what it does is it's just a lift. It lifts the shelf above it about an inch off the ground and just starts shuffling them around and moving them toward the shipping department so that somebody can put it in a package. And I gotta say, man, this has got to be fucking cool as hell and very efficient. Ooh, Robot Army. This is so crazy because now you've just maximized every inch of fucking space. I don't think the shelves will actually fall. They're only an inch. So it's not going to get enough momentum even if something were to happen. Somebody dropped some gum on the floor or something. That I imagine gum on the floor would severely fuck this whole thing up. But you know what, people? We're being replaced by robots. You know, how many people lost their job that did that? You know, I think it's going to take some gumption on the manufacturer's part to not completely make it human race useless. Wow, that is super cool. Look at how many people are on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some guys over by computer. There's 6 people on a fucking giant factory floor that looks like it's about a mile across. Let's see if we can get a little sound in here. This is just wild. That's why you get shit in 2 days, people. Because Amazon is killing it. Look at this. Shit looks like fucking trains moving. That there is a well-oiled machine, and I bet you money that's why they want Amazon here with us. I actually this morning had found a fucking kick-ass video of Jamie Foxx. Now, he looks drunk as fuck, but he's acting a fool, and he's being super funny like the funny guy we know him to be. And this was on Instagram on World Star. And so I'm going to play this right now for you.
Now, I just pulled over to the gas station to get his food stopped. This is what they here for.
Hello? Everything is Gucci. Everything is Gucci. Everything is Gucci. Hello? Everything is Gucci. Slap a bitch.
And you know what, they kind of stopped that video, but just as he starts to walk away, you can see him stumble. Like, you know, what's freakier is in that car there's no driver, so you know, stay away from Jamie when he's dressed up like he's back in the fucking 60s again. D-Man sent me one too. Let's see here. This one was from 50 Cent's page. I hadn't quite had a chance, but I always include everything that we create for this show. So let's see what we got here. It's a bit like a surprise. It's a surprise for both of us, you know. What do we have here? So there's no sound to this. Oh, the bird jumped up on the mom and tried to grab the piece of rice, and that boy grabbed the bird by the back of the head, took the food out of its mouth, and put it in his mouth. He's probably gonna get bird flu. Oh my God, that kid was quick. Like, hey, bitch ass little bird, I'll take my shit. Yeah, so, and then there is the ultimate fat guy in a McLaren, and I don't know, I've seen a couple of these where, you know, some, what should I say, vertically challenged people buy these high-end cars, pull up to a gas station, can't get out.
Look at this fucking McLaren, man. Fucking sick. Damn, man, I love your car, bro.
My car?
Love it, man. It's so sick, bro. I love it, though. Bro, it's sick as fuck.
What?
What do? You're a rapper?
A film producer.
A film producer? Fuck, that's...
Start recording, man.
Yo, but why you so... Bro, but like, why can't you get out of the fucking car? You're kind of like...
Why you gotta record?
I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, it's a nice fucking car. I've been saying that. I'm just saying, I ain't got that kind of money. I ain't got McLaren money and shit. But you look like you need to hit the gym and shit, you know? I'm just saying, I'm being honest, you know? Can't even get out of your own fucking, like what? Like $300,000 car? What the fuck?
And as
Look at this
usual,
fucking McLaren, man.
as usual, our $140 a month doesn't do shit for streaming. Thanks to Spectrum, because they fucking blow worse than Time Warner. And some reason Time Warner decided that'd be a good idea to sell their shit. So, fuck you, Time Warner. Fuck you, Spectrum. If you work for Spectrum today, I feel so bad for you. Now, kind of back on the topic. I don't know why she did it. Because it was basically suicide. But Dana Loesch is a conservative female news anchor. I think she worked on The Blaze for like 5 years, and I'm not sure where she worked before that. But very conservative. She was hired by the NRA to be their spokesperson, and she took an invitation to go on CNN in front of a crowd full of pretty upset people that wanted to talk about gun control and also some of the shooting victims. Things that you need to know. CNN, a couple of keen reporters noticed that on the backs of each one of the little kids' questionnaire tickets, it said, right at the bottom, it said CNN powerful questions or something like that. I didn't have enough time to find the link where it showed hard-hitting topics by CNN. That this was definitely a what do you call it? A firing squad to Dana Loesch, and I'm gonna let this play because it's hard hitting. You know what I mean? And you know I don't take sides, so we're gonna watch this, and I'm gonna show you, you know, what some of these kids are saying. Oh, that was not the link. Let me try this again. There we go. And so I'm going to give this a second to load up. And hey guys, if you're just joining us. Oh.
I want you to know that we will support you.
I'm going to pause that. If you're just joining us, guys, thank you. Thank you for being here. We talk about all kinds of shit, art, entertainment, and talk. If you're catching this after hours, you can go to apexarttalk@gmail.com and hit us up. Ask us questions. Fire back. You know, if you feel differently than me, you know what? You're entitled to your opinion, and I'd be glad to have a open, honest discussion about it. You know, we might even put you on the air and we'll have a debate right here, because I love intelligent people, and it doesn't matter that you don't think the way that I think. I think that we could show the world how to be more intelligent just by having intelligent conversation, and know that words do not hurt you. Okay? You are entitled to be, you are not entitled. You have the right to be offended. But you know what? You don't have the right to stop somebody from talking just because you are offended. You have the right to intelligently engage them in a conversation in which you are informed enough to have a debate. And when you have an intelligent debate with two intelligent people, you get intelligent conclusions. So definitely hit me up. I'd love to hear from you. If you're catching us but you can't watch us, you can always catch us on SoundCloud at ATF Art and Entertainment Talk. And yeah, we're a tattoo shop. Hit us up, www.apextattoofactory.com. We're about to see right now is Dana Loesch under the firing squad of CNN, and some of the survivors from the school shooting there in Florida. So I'm going to put this up and play it, and maybe give you a little commentary what I think is coached, maybe what, it's pretty hard on Dana Loesch.
Your two children in the way that we will not. You will not.
Hold on. That was a hard
Dana
hitter.
Loesch, I want you to know that we will support your two children in the way that we will not. You will not. The shooter at our school obtained weapons that he used on us legally. Do you believe that it should be harder to obtain these semi-automatic and weapons and the modifications for these weapons to make them fully automatic like bump stocks?
Well, first off, Emma, I want to applaud you for standing up and speaking out. And for anyone who has ever criticized you or any of these students up here, including people who have been on my side of this issue.
The classic beat around the bush political.
Or deny you your position because you are young.
We want to thank you for
I was a very politically active teenager, and I'm on this stage as a result of that. Think of how far you all could go as a result of voicing.
Also, the kid did not walk into the school with the bump stock.
And I want to be allowed the opportunity, which is why I am here, to talk and have this discussion with you all and answer these questions. This is why I came down here. I don't believe that this insane monster should have ever been able to obtain a firearm. Ever. I do not think that he should have gotten his hands on any kind of weapon. That's number one. This individual was nuts. And I, nor the millions of people that I represent as a part of this organization that I'm here speaking for, none of us support people who are crazy, who are a danger to themselves, who are a danger to others, getting their hands on a firearm. And we have been for over 20 years, and I have been screaming about this, which is why I'm here, because I have kids, and I'm not just fighting for my kids, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for all of you, because I don't want anyone to ever be in this position again. I want everyone to think about this for 1 second. This goes right into your question. Do you know that it is not federally required for states to actually report people who are prohibited possessors, crazy people, people who are murderers?
Yeah, she's timing in on what I told you. He was reported to the FBI and the police many times.
But let me answer Emma's question.
He also suffered from a mental disorder.
It is not federal law for states to report convictions to the NICS system. It's not federally mandated. That's the big question, and I wish that this network had also covered this more, as other media networks would have covered it. That's a huge. Wait a second.
you guys. If I can't
That's got to be a hard.
can't come up with a rebuttal, please.
Wait a second. Do you guys want to stop mentally insane individuals from getting firearms? Yes? They have to be in the system. If they are convicted, you can convict them, you can adjudicate them mentally unfit. If a state does not report it to the National Crime Information Center, when you run that form, this madman passed a background check. How was he able to pass a background check? He was able to pass a background check because we have a system that's flawed. The Sutherland Springs murderer was able to pass a background check because the Air Force did not report that record.
I think I'm just gonna interrupt you real quick and remind you that the question is actually, do you believe it should be harder to obtain these semi-automatic weapons and modifications to make them fully automatic, such as bump stocks?
Well, I think the ATF is deciding about bump stocks right now. The president ordered the DOJ to look into it.
I'm asking your opinion as a representative of the...
Okay, now I'm just pausing this for a second. I want to challenge each and every one of you that's watching today to look up actual facts, okay? Not CNN polls, not bullshit. I want the actual facts. There are federal systems that keep track of everything, okay? And know that more firearm related incidents of people dying and being shot are all done with a handgun. It's why you have to be 21 to buy a handgun. I think there was only 300 of the 15,000 murders and not all 15,000 murders were actually with a gun. It was just murders with a weapon of some sort. A weapon would be knife, bat, any you could if I could prove that you deliberately ran me over with a car, that is considered death with a weapon. And I challenge you to look up who's actually being killed, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. What I was trying to do without, clicking off your guys' screen from watching this, was to go to a site that is specifically dedicated to mass shootings in America. And if you were to go to this site right now, which I will attempt to find once this is over, and click on it and watch it, you will find really quickly that actually nobody died. What the fuck considers a mass shooting that 95% of the mass shootings on this website, no one died? So, also, in America, we do not separate self-defense, justified homicide, from people that murdered, okay? So every time a police officer fired at somebody that was pointing a gun at them, or a homeowner was being broken into and assaulted or whatever, and they killed the guy, those are also put into the numbers. So just a healthy little thought for you there while I play this.
That's what the NRA's position has been. The NRA came, I'm talking for them. These are the 5 million members that I'm here representing. That is what that group's position has been on that. So that answers your question. And they spoke about that before the president made a move, and they spoke about that before Attorney General Jeff Sessions made an announcement about that too. So that answers your question with that.
Just interject for a second though, and I understand you're standing up for the NRA, and I understand that's what you're supposed to do. But you just told this group of people that you are standing up for them. You're not standing up for them until you say, I want less weapons.
Less weapons is not the problem.
These people want three things. And I come here tonight with 39 years in law enforcement. I've Baker-acted people. I've taken weapons from people. The men and women I've worked with for almost 40 years. We know how to keep America safe. Number one, you're right, we have to take weapons out of the hands of people that suffer from mental illness. We have to...
Okay. This guy is a fucking piece of shit. I'll tell you that right now, just from what he said. Most people aren't being made aware that 5 police officers from his department specifically sat outside the school while children were being killed. All right, these people enlisted themselves to do a job, and I know police officers. I know some damn good fucking police officers that would have never stood outside of the fucking school while an insane fucking kid was inside, because they are the only line of defense. Well, in his specific sheriff's office unit, this dude is doing everything political to keep his own people from being recognized as scary little bitches who let a bunch of fucking kids. He sits there and says, oh man, I Baker-acted people. Dude, you know what you also did? You let 5 of your fucking comrades let all those kids die because you hired a bunch of fucking pussies who would allow somebody to shoot this kid, to shoot those other kids. And you know what? It was an off-duty police officer whose wife and child was in there, that was in shorts and a fucking t-shirt cleaning up the damn baseball field, that went in there and assisted while his guys stood outside. You know what I mean? The media isn't giving you the whole story and letting you run with it the way that it should be. They're specifically narrating it to make the NRA look like the bad guy. Now, I'm not an NRA member, and I could give a shit less about the NRA. But the fact of the matter is the media thinks that you're dumb. And I don't think that you're dumb. And I think that if they were to give you all the information, you could make an informed decision. However, If I only gave you one set of the facts, you would be trying to make a logical decision in your mind based on half the truth. If I gave you the whole truth, you would be furious at this guy. You would be asking him to resign as a sheriff and never ever be able to hold a gun again, because not only did he sign an oath to protect the people, but he allowed those children to be killed because he is in charge. And when something like this happens, the shit rolls uphill, and he is the top of that hill. So, just so you know, that's who is talking right now. The piece of shit that hired 5 fucking officers that just stood outside while gunfire was going off.
Expand the Baker Act. We have to be able, when police encounter someone, Emma, when police encounter someone who is going through a mental illness, we don't only have to wait, or we shouldn't have to wait until they are a danger to themselves or someone else. We should be able to take them to an institution that's going to examine them and take weapons away from them right then and there at that time.
And Sheriff, you're a member of the NRA.
But I agree with that statement.
No, you're not a member of the NRA. I want to bring in Diane Wolk-Rogers, who teaches AP World History. One of the victims, Carmen Shentrup, was in her class, and she has a question for Dana as well.
Dana, I viewed the dead body of Carmen Shentrup, our student. I watched her mother and father kiss her goodbye one last time and close the top of her casket. I looked at Robert and I hugged him, my dear, dear Robert, and I told you that Carmen, she died a martyr. Our kids have started a revolution. I'm proud and I'm inspired to be a part of Never Again. Now here's my question. I'm a history teacher. I asked my students to define terms for me. So I'd like you to define something for me, because I've wondered about it, and I want to know, what is your definition of a well-regulated militia, as stated in the Second Amendment, and using supporting detail, explain to me how Let me finish. And using supporting detail, explain to me how an 18-year-old with a military rifle is well regulated. And the world, our country, our nation is going to grade your answer.
Well, by all means. And I want to say as well, as a parent, I see my kids and these students. I see my kids and the students that are here today. What you went through is horrid. I'm not going to pretend to understand what you went through. There are no words for it. It's monstrous, and nobody should have to endure that. I want to answer your question. George Mason was one of the founders, and he said the militia is the whole of the people. It's every man, it's every woman. That is who the militia is. In the context of the time, a well-regulated militia meant an American man, an American woman, a citizen of the United States of America who could operate and service their firearm.
How is an 18-year-old, that was in the context of the time.
Yes.
How now is an 18-year-old with a military assault rifle well regulated? Use supporting detail.
He shouldn't have been able to get a firearm. He should have been barred from getting a firearm.
Well, and I just have to say one thing. Assault is a verb, okay, people? That weapon is just a regular hunting rifle until somebody uses it in an assault, okay? No weapon is physically made for assaulting except for military-grade weapons, in which this is not, okay? This is a regular hunting rifle. The kid... they don't bother to tell you that this was a predominantly Jewish school, okay? And that the kid had fucking swastikas etched into each one of the magazines, okay? lot of these fact-checking sites like to say, well, you know, there was a picture that surfaced of him wearing Antifa clothing. You know what? They said, well, no, this was a factual picture. But if it was him, and unless somebody photo-edited some Antifa fucking clothes on this kid, he was also an Antifa member. So, I mean, rifles don't assault people. People assault people, okay? And I can take any weapon, except for even a single shotgun, and walk through a place and quickly be able to unload rounds that would devastate people, okay? And I'm not saying that that would ever be something that I would do, but I know a lot about weapons, and these people don't. And so what they don't know, they're scared of, and that's the popular consensus throughout any time. People have always been scared of the things that they do not know. So I'm gonna let her continue, but.
And he should not have been able to. He should not have been able to purchase a firearm.
So what are you, the men, are going to do about it?
Let me answer. If we're here to have a discussion, that's why I'm here. I want you to ask me every question. I want you to give me every question you have.
Let's have some respect. She's here to answer the questions. Let's let her answer the questions.
He should, A, never been able to get a firearm. B, people who are crazy should not be able to get firearms. C, people who are dangerous to themselves and other individuals should not be able to obtain a firearm.
Could you imagine being the one person that had to stand up?
And that's what we have to start calling it. We have to start, number one, following up on red flags. 39 times in the past year, it was law enforcement or it was social services that went to this individual's home. Now, there are 2 Florida statutes. One of them, I don't know if the comment that he had put on YouTube would have qualified for you to Baker Act him, but sending messages telling other students that he was going to murder them and he was going to kill them, I would think certainly would qualify under a Florida state statute for you to have Baker Acted him.
Let me respond to that. First of all, we've talked about the Broward Sheriff's Office and some other local agencies and the FBI getting tips and what have you. America, there's one person responsible for this act. That's the detestable, violent killer.
And that is a response just like the one and only Hillary Clinton. He just completely fucking, what difference does it make? Well, the difference it makes is your inaction caused people to die. And that's exactly what Hillary Clinton did after she said, no, I didn't talk, you know, I wasn't aware that something was happening in Benghazi. But they went and they proved that she both knew that the ambassador, what is his name? The American ambassador in Benghazi was under attack, and she did nothing. She knew that the factions of Americans went when our own military wouldn't to go rescue him. Stevens was his name. Went to go rescue him, and they needed assistance. That assistance was there. That assistance could have been a non-lethal approach to help, and they did nothing. And when they proved that she had done nothing and knew everything about it, because she was, of course, in control of the Department of Defense, she came back with a rebuttal just like he did. What difference does it make? Well, it makes all the fucking difference, because kids are dead now. And you want to blame a fucking gun and sit on that stage like you're innocent, dude. You are responsible for this.
He is responsible for this act. Nobody else but him. There's 3 things we need to do in America to keep America safe. Number 1, we have to use through crime prevention, through environmental design, build schools differently so they're harder to penetrate. Number 2, we need to be
maybe I should be up on that stage. Maybe you should put me up on that stage, and I can say that maybe we need actual police officers. Maybe we should take some of our Apex police officers and put them down in Florida to show you what a real fucking police officer is. Because I know a bunch of dickhard motherfuckers that would have ran into that school and eliminated this threat. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how lax it is down there in Florida, but this guy really is truly trying to keep from losing his job. And I'm telling you what, man, people will do anything nowadays. They'll say anything. Everything's politicized. Nobody can go in and have an intelligent conversation. And you know what? I think everybody that wanted to ask Dana Loesch a question should have been there. And by no means am I trying to defend her, but this interview was very one-sided. You know, every time she tried to make an intelligent comeback, she was booed, and the crowd of people were there specifically. Obviously, nobody was cheering her, you know, for her answers, and so that would lead me to believe that majority of the people in that audience were there specifically to boo her. And that's when I say that half-truths from the media and stuff like that are always going to be an issue until you stand up and tell CNN or any of them that you want the whole truth. Because these half-truths, you know, didn't exist before 9/11. You know, we used to watch the news, and the news used to go undercover to find the truth. And the news that we have today, you know, I know a lot of younger crowd doesn't know the difference because you didn't know what it was like. We've been in war since you can remember, and you know what? I grew 20 years. I was 20 years old before 9/11 happened, and you know, it's disturbing to watch the world change in the way that it has, and have everything that be on TV. Like, I don't watch TV. The only time I'm on TV or even know about stuff like this is when I do research to talk to you guys today. We're gonna wind this down. I'm gonna pretty much done with that. You know, love, people. Love is the answer. There's never been an answer better than that. I truly believe that in all my heart, that arguing between two people and just being brutally bitter and hateful and spiteful has never worked. I believe in killing people with kindness. You know, I got a foul mouth, but I tend to think kind of like Tony Robbins, in that when somebody asks Tony Robbins, why do you swear? Well, because it cuts. When people won't listen, you know, speaking with these tones means, hey, I'm fucking serious right now. And I mean fucking business. And when I say I mean business, if I say I mean fucking business, you know what I mean. And you're going to take it more seriously because I'm giving you that emotional word, you know what I'm saying? Because it adds power to words. And so I cuss a lot. And I told myself I'd never hold back on that. And so I want to say that when you try and kill people with kindness, you know, they're going to get mad because what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut you. And when you don't allow them to do that and you kill them with love, well, then they lose. You win. And I'm a firm believer because I use that practice. You know what I mean? I've lived all kinds of factions of life. This is my newest leaf, you know what I mean? And I tried living the other way. So I'm speaking from example. Guys, I'm really sorry that I didn't have a better show for you today. And I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry that the live chat wasn't working. I'm sure that people had questions or wanted to say something, but right now it won't even tell me that you're here. So, but special shout out today to the soldiers that serve our country. I wish that people would pay more attention to you. Me, D-Man, Aaron, Miss Aaron, and a good friend of mine, Timothy Beck, will be playing in your honor. There's a benefit coming up in April, the beginning of April, in which me, D-Man, Miss Aaron, and Mr. Timothy, Mr. Beck, will be joining up as Apex Tattoo Factory's sponsored golf tournament. Well, it's their tournament for soldiers that are coming home. We're gonna try and raise enough money to help them buy a home. And I've always felt like the soldiers were the most unappreciated thing in this country, because of what they risk, because of what their families have been through. You know, these guys face death every day, and their families always have to worry about if they're coming home until they retire. The day they retire, they live this life of constant fear. And for their sacrifice, I don't think that any soldier out there should ever have to suffer. And so we're going to do our part. We're going to dress up real funny. We're probably going to make a YouTube video, and we are going to go knock some fucking balls like Jackass the movie and see what happens. But thanks for joining us today, guys. And, as always, you never know what you're going to get, and we appreciate your support. If you will, like and share, and we will see you guys, let's see, Monday. Yeah. So definitely, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you then. Have a great day.